Good day everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In our previous videos, we have discussed the analysis and design of information systems process by understanding the information system flow through data flow diagram and data dictionary, as well as by understanding the process specification through structured English, decision tree, and decision table. In this video, we're going to discuss how to effectively design an output. My name is Gunggu. Welcome to channel Gunggu Learning. In order to understand effective output design, we will need to understand the output design objectives first. There are several output design objectives. The first one is to serve a specific user or organizational purposes. So this means that the output is designed in order to fulfill the user's need or the organization's need. For example, a specific user, such as the sales director, will need information on the aggregate sales figure on an interactive visual display like a business dashboard. The second objective is that the output should be meaningful to the users. This means that the users will be able to use output for their decision-making process. Such as in the previous example, a visual business dashboard would show indicators that enable a strategic business decision making. The third output design objective is to deliver the appropriate quantity of an output. Much research has proven, as shown here, that there is a trade-off between quality and quantity of information. The higher the quantity, the lower the quality. But the lower the quantity, the higher the quality. So this means that by delivering the appropriate amount of quantity, you can also maintain the quality of the output. The fourth one is to make sure the output is where it is needed. For example, if the sales department systems produce an output from their sales information systems, so the output will be used by the department that is related with the sales department also. For example, the marketing department for marketing purposes, the human resource department for performance evaluation and promotion purposes, and finally the sales director for strategic decision making purposes. Now, these four design objectives are basically based on the content of the output itself. So whether the content can fulfill the user's need or whether the content of the output is meaningful to the users, as well as the continuity of output content is available where it is needed for the users. These are all based on the content of the output. Now, for the content of the output, we can separate it into two different types of output. The first one is the internal output, which is basically the output that is produced by the system and is intended for the internal structure of the organization, such as the employees and the managers of the company. While the second one is based on content that is supposed to be given to a third party. This output is basically the external output. An external output is usually given to the party that is related to the company or have potential to be related to the company in a transactional basis. For example, marketing information intended to both existing customers and potential customers. Other examples includes reports that can be shared with the suppliers of the company, such as reports of quantity on hand of raw materials for the just-in-time system's purpose. Now, let's continue with the output objectives. The fifth one is to provide output on time. This should depend on the output technology that is being chosen. For example, if the system is able to provide an online real-time output, this means that the technology that is chosen can also provide that online and real-time output, such as a touch screen, where the user can interact with the output online and real-time. The last of the output design objectives is to choose the most effective output method, which we can pick from several options. As we can see here, we have several types of output methods. The methods can be a printed output using papers as the media, or a display screen output for digital media. Other digital output methods are also available, such as audio output, podcasts, and of course, video. There are also ubiquitous output methods, such as mobile device outputs, including mobile phones, tablets, and laptops. There are also multi-purpose electronic outputs, including emails, websites, blogs, and RSS feeds. All of the different output methods previously mentioned have their own advantages and disadvantages. As you can see here, for example, a printed output is very simple and affordable. However, it is environmentally unfriendly, while the display screen output is very interactive. However, it requires space of placement to install the display screen. Now, we will discuss about output bias as a part of the output design. We have to consider output bias before choosing an output design. An output bias is basically when the system produces an output intended to the users. However, the users misinterpret the output. So there is a bias there. The output bias in the information systems can happen in several ways. The first one is how information is sorted. Usually, the output is sorted sequentially. However, if the output is sorted at random due to error or flaw in the design or bugs on the applications, then the user will have difficulties in trying to understand the output, since humans usually look at data and information sequentially, from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The second bias is when setting off an acceptable limit. A bias can happen. For example, if I design a PowerPoint output, usually the acceptable limits that can be read effectively by users maybe from 5 to 10 rows of statements or sentences. If it's more than 10 rows, for example, 100 rows of sentences, this means that, well, it should be a novel chapter instead of a PowerPoint, right? And users will probably misunderstood what I'm trying to inform in the PowerPoint because it's too much. Finally, the last bias can also come from wrong choice of graphics. For example, I want to compare the sales of cars and trucks. Now in this histogram, it's very difficult for me to compare each year of the sales from cars and trucks. Well, if I choose a different kind of graphics, like this one, it will be easier for users to compare the sales of cars and trucks per year in using this kind of graphics compared to the previous one. Once we consider this output bias, now we can start with choosing the output design. First, we have the printed output design, display output design, and graphical output design. These three designs are pretty similar, although there are differences in their methods. For example, all of them can display text, tables, or other graphical outputs. However, for a printed output, the display will be static. Meanwhile, for display output, it can be interactive. And finally, graphical output, well, it only consists of graphics, which can be diagrams, pictures, tables, etc. Next, the fourth one is the dashboard output design. Dashboard is an output design that consists of a lot of aggregated information. The aggregated information is usually shown as indicators. For example, it's pretty similar with a car dashboard or motorcycle dashboards. It will show us the indicators of some key performance indicators that is available in the company. For example, sales. It will be aggregated and indicated in a speedometer kind of graphic, just like in this example, where a red color shows when the sales is low, yellow if the sales in the middle, and green when the sales is high, which is very useful for immediate decision-making process. Pretty similar with car and motorcycle dashboard with their fuel indicators, where we can decide whether it's time to refuel our gas or not. This kind of output design is usually intended for top-level management because it's aggregated information. Next, we have the infographics output design, which is the output design that is intended for a certain type of topics to be delivered to the users. For example, an example here is a topic on how to create a human. This infographics shows sequential information in animated infographics where a human comes from. Okay, our next design is the Web 2.0 output design. This design is basically based on the social media design. So the design includes social media features such as information sharing, postings and repostings, likes and dislikes, comments, and etc. The next design is the app or basically mobile applications. The design is a bit special because you need to consider the availability of the output design to users who are using mobile phones. And the screen on a mobile phone is very small, so you will probably need to design the output to be easily read and interact with the mobile phone users. Finally, the last output design is the Extensible Markup Language output design, or XML output design. The XML is very flexible output, where you can convert the XML output to a lot of different output designs. For example, to a mobile phone app design or even an XML document that can be sent to another systems on the supplier's company or even another systems to the company branch. Another example of XML output design is the financial statement that uses XBRL or Extensible Business Reporting Language to produce the output. Well, I guess that's all that I can explain to you all about designing an effective output. For further details, we will discuss it on our synchronized session. Thank you very much for your attention. I'll be seeing you on our next video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Good day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.